Good afternoon, everybody. This is our first show, Elevation in Recovery, Stairway Recovery production. Today, we're going to talk about a lot of things, how people can get help, the resources, where they can find them, and a lot about the center and all that and our staff that make this whole thing work. In a community, we work together for the success. To my right is my co-host, Ricky. And over here is our guest, Jaquan. And he's going to tell us a little about himself. And we're just going to go with the flow. Okay, Jaquan.
How are you guys today?
I'm good, Jaquan.
It's an honor to be here, by the way.
Thank you
for the invite. This is a long time coming.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. We really do. Jaquan, just tell me a little bit about your childhood.
Oh, man. Well, it was great. I had, yeah, right. My earliest memories are, I'm from Orchard Park in Roxbury, Orchard Park Projects in Roxbury. I'm the first of 14 children. Not together by mother and father. My dad's got 10, my mother's got 4. So combined, that's 14. My earliest memories are remembering how many people was in the apartment. We had a 3-bedroom. I believe it was 12 of us to that 3-bedroom.
Wow.
I was the only child, though. It was fun. I won't lie when I say constant excitement. Just a whole bunch of food. We ate a lot, but it was a different environment. It was different. It was very different. A lot of adults. A lot of adults mean a lot of adult activity. And I flew under the radar a little bit. In my experience, I thought maybe because I was the only child, I would have had this abundance of attention, but that was not the case. I flew underneath a lot.
With you talking about the adult activity, did you see that at an early age, or was that more when you were older?
Oh, as soon as possible. As early as I can remember, from domestic violence to drug use, as far as weed and alcohol. All of my uncles were drug dealers, big time. Federal inmates, state inmates, the guns, a lot of just, and I won't say it as if anyone put it in my face.
Right.
This wasn't the case. Hey, come on, little brother, sit down. Let us show you. No, that wasn't it. But it was really hard to get away from it. When every time you opened up a door, there was something going on in the room that shouldn't have been. And I never had my own room, so that was definitely at first it wasn't seen as anything wrong with it though. It wasn't because it was obvious that there was a system going on at first. And then I believe when I was 7. February of 99, the feds kicked down the door. Ooh. For the first time in my life, I had seen, what that looked like. We lived on the 1st floor, Harrison Avenue. There's a school where I used to live, and we lived on the 1st floor. You can kind of like stick your leg out of the window to reach the ground.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it, man. Guns were this big and big lights, and they had battering ram the door. And back then, the project doors were bulletproof. They were very thick and big, so I remember knocking down the door, and that's when I knew very early on something was wrong.
Right.
Whatever was going on in this house, in my home, was it was normalized by most of us. But for me, that's kind of when I knew, oh my goodness, I don't think we're doing the right things around here.
Right.
And we were a pretty big family in the projects. My grandfather was a very hardworking man. He worked for Local 26, 45 years, same shift for 40 years. My grandmother, she was a hard worker. She worked at Boston Medical Center in the trauma unit for a long time as an assistant, but they were never home. They worked a lot, and they had 8 children who I loved. That's my family, my own aunts and uncles. I loved them to death, but they were, for lack of better words, some of the most ruthless human beings on the planet.
Okay.
I'll leave it there. Yeah. I'll say that. Well, I remember starting the drinking and the drugging. It started in college. Good time. Good time. I would be lying to you if I told you that when all this started, it wasn't fun.
Right.
It was. And then I I believe as soon as I got home, I was married already. I'm married with 3 children, 2 biologically, 1 stepson. And man, just happened to be in the real world, living life on life's terms. I worked 16 hours a day and came home and put in another 16 hours, having 2 children in diapers, having a young wife, a stepson who was already walking, first apartment, $2,100 market rent in 2013. It was tough. It was very tough. I never cried or complained, but I definitely needed an escape.
How'd you know when you needed the help? When you stepped in, just before you stepped into recovery, how did you know? Some people can't pick it up right away. Some people have to bottom out.
Oh man, a few years ago, I was in serious active addiction, and I think you start knowing that you need help right around the time when you realize you can't keep any money in your pocket. When you can't keep any money in your pocket, when you're putting off bills, you're putting off important things, maybe tomorrow, but sometimes that eludes you. My son went to work with his grandfather. He was 9 years old at the time. And my son is my biggest fan. My daughter's my greatest supporter, but my son is my biggest fan, seriously. He went off and he worked for a day, and he made $80. And this day, man, I wasn't working. I didn't get a check in, wasn't getting a check in about a week, and I went and locked myself in a room. This is what addicts do. I locked myself in a room. I couldn't get high. I wanted no parts of anything. And my baby boy, he came home and he knocks on the door. He's like, "Hey, Daddy, I went to work today and I had a good day." And I said, "Oh, well, that's good, son, but I'm really not in the mood. So, go have a seat." And 10 minutes go by and I'm in the bed. I'm watching YouTube highlights. I'm watching basketball. Yeah. And he comes in the room. He closes the door behind him. He makes sure there's nobody behind him. And he pulls out his money. And he looks at me and he goes, "Daddy, hey, I made $80 today." And I'm like, "That's good, son." And he gives me 40. And he tells me that I can go meet my friend. And so I could be happy. Okay. For those who don't understand, it was, I shared that I did use. I used drugs with my children. They knew. My idealism on that was to never allow anyone to be able to take advantage of my children. Someone took advantage of me because my mom and dad wasn't around. Right. People exposed me to certain things in certain places because my parents weren't there to protect me. I refused that to happen to my children. So to each his own, but mine, I told them what everything was, what it looked like, what it made you look like, what it felt like, so they would never be taken advantage of. My son had felt the need to have to help feed my addiction because I wasn't in the best of moods and I wasn't in the best place. And I'm a pretty smart guy. I don't think all my true morals and values had died yet, but it was the start, and I sure took the money, and I left. And I remember coming back. A few hours later, and he was waiting for me. He was waiting for me, and I was all zooted up, and I was ready to go. Crack cocaine was my drug of choice, and I was like, "Hey, son, you want to go to the park? You want to go take a walk? You want to go?" And of course, hustler's mentality. I turned that 40 into about 80, and that 2 hours I was gone. So I had nights reboot, and I remember me and him just taking a walk to the park, man, and he just was like, "Daddy, I have your back, And I was like, wow. Oh. I said, "Son, it's not your job to have my back, He's like, "Yeah, but I got you. We're not gonna tell mommy about this. We're not gonna tell anybody about this."
Unconditional love.
And I was broken for the first time. For the first time, I didn't feel like this hero. I didn't feel like a hero anymore, With my children, I knew the one thing that was for certain, man, 5 years in a row, they took my uniforms and all the jobs that I had, because, when you're in active addiction, you can't hold a job. So I was doing like 30 different things. And they would wear my uniforms and my clothes every year for Halloween, just saying basically that they wanted to be like me. I had money to take them to it was nothing, Dollar Tree, we could put some things together. They didn't want that. They wanted to dress like me. But for the first time, I didn't feel like a hero anymore. I knew that I had crossed the line. Yeah. I had truly crossed the line that I couldn't return from at the time, because treatment and meetings and stuff like that, they hadn't been involved in my life yet. Right. So only thing I knew was to try to resist the feeling of getting high on my own, which never lasted. I couldn't put together a week.
So with these moments of attempted recovery, when did you realize that recovery was actually possible for you?
I had 23 months of abstinence off crack cocaine. This is where the possibility, squeaked through. And that was from attending meetings. I had an introduction to right after that situation with my son. I had gotten introduced to an AA, July of 2023. And I remember going in. I'll never forget it. It was 900 Main Street, the Lutheran Church here in Brockton, Hope. And I remember going in with a 50 bag of cocaine in my sock. I had the conversation with somebody about you need help and you got to get it together. I was at the time, cunning, baffling, insidious, very manipulative, always 3 steps ahead. So I said, I'll go to this meeting. Whatever you say, buddy. And I go to the meeting and I'm in there 5 minutes and I'm showed, first of all, unconditional love, first and foremost, which someone from where I come from in my background is not used to. For me, I stopped trusting people because I was not to be trusted. This is the one thing that addiction teaches you. It's hard to open up and it's hard to trust when you can't be trusted. I couldn't be trusted, so why would I trust you? That was just that's the game we're in. Yeah. And I go and there's a guy, man, and when they say share your experience, strength, and hope, there was a guy in there. His name is Jack. And he started talking. You ever went to church before and the pastor's up giving a sermon and you feel like he's talking to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
This guy, I felt like he was looking right through me. Okay. And I remember the line that got me. He goes, if you want what we have, then don't lie to us. Don't come here and cheat yourself. If you want what we have, sit, pay attention, open your ears, close your mouth, and you can have it. I'm new to the place. I've just gotten in. I'm the only black man in there, young too. And I felt like he was looking right through to me. So I remember getting up, going to the bathroom, flushing the cocaine, and turned away from that day forward. Okay. However, I started to use recovery as a manipulation mechanism, if you will. Let's be honest. I mean, you have harm reduction, which is a big thing today, which a lot of people believe in. That can help you recover truly. I used harm reduction as a way to still get high without getting high. Okay, so I like crack. I like dope. I stopped doing those things. So I smoked weed 14 grams a day for 2 years.
Okay. So in your darkest times, what gave you hope? Aside from the harm reduction and replacing one with another.
Seeing the light come back in people's eyes that you once knew.
Was there a particular person or a support system that gave you that light?
Yeah, Stairway to Recovery. Okay. I went to a lot of meetings. Got to the point where I got very good at it. I called myself a meeting master. Everywhere I went, I had a great voice, I had a great background, good education. I was able to speak to people, gravitate, electrify very easily. People want to hear me all the time. This was my way of getting over. And my mother, who has been in active addiction for over 40 years, she has been clean for 2 years. And I remember seeing her. We used to use together at a point, very briefly, but we used together. And I remember seeing her, obviously about 100 pounds bigger, right? But so happy. Always had money in her pocket, which this is a myth here. Okay, my mama never had no money. Right. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah. Never. And we went out to eat, and she took me out, and she took my wife as well. And she was just offering, baby, would you like this? Do you want me to do this? Do you want me to do that? And I never had a mom. Right. I never had that nurturing, that motherly life, that vibe. But oh my goodness, man, she was just so happy. Right. She was so happy, and I couldn't. And I said, Ma, you got to tell me your secret, honey. You got to, come on now. You got to tell me what you're taking. You know, what pill is it? And she was like, baby, you know, I'm in recovery. I've been clean for 17, 18 months at the time. And I was, I wanted some of that. Of course, the lack of forgiveness, resentments, and a giant ego wouldn't allow me to have that. Because when I looked at her, I only saw the mother who was never there for me. And now all of a sudden you're happy. You know, having me and having to take care of me and my other brothers and sisters wasn't enough to make you happy. So this is why I say I needed treatment. Because I think even seeing that there can be experience, there can be hope, there were so many internal demons I was fighting that wouldn't allow me to see it that way.
Right.
I saw it as, who the hell are you to get clean and sober and clean now at 60 when you've ruined all of our lives? You know, I couldn't see past that.
Yeah.
So when you walked into Stairway, how was your first day? What was your first experience?
Well, I was in active addiction. So my first experience was, nope, get away from me. No, I don't know you. No. But the welcoming that I received, an abundance of resources. And at the time I was homeless. I needed an ID, I needed a birth certificate. I needed all of these things. And I didn't see myself getting them in the foreseeable future on my own. Stairway helped me acquire those things with the old champion plan, getting a birth certificate, getting an ID, food pantries. At the time, my marriage was on the rails, was on the rocks, man. There was no way we were gonna make it. And Stairway had a very good support system as far as wanting to see people stay together and make it. We all know that recovery, sobriety, can be a pretty lonely walk.
True.
It's a selfish program.
True.
But Stairway has helped show me that it is possible that we can recover together. Because it's not an I thing, it's a we thing.
Yes.
You know, it's your life, yes. But it's so much easier when we do it together. Stairway saved not just my life, but my marriage too. Because so many places would rather you astray from your significant other. Considering when you've hurt each other so much, you've done so much dirt, you've done so much damage, a lot of people don't feel like there's no coming back.
Right.
I can say to you that truly this time around, having today 83 days of complete abstinence, no weed, no alcohol, no nothing. I could never put together 80 minutes in my life, let alone 83 days. A lot of that is gifted to Stairway's, their guidance. You had a recovery coach and everything at Stairway that they offer? Yeah, they offered all of those things. They offered someone to, if I can be honest, a lot of these things I didn't utilize so much because I never wanted to feel like recovery for me was a handicap. Okay, I want you to understand, when you go into treatment like I did, I went into a voluntary detox, High Point here in Brockton. Oh man, it's like being a child, man, you know? It's like being a child, being told when to eat, told when to, and I'm not gonna, and being a former convicted felon, I'm not gonna make it out to be like jail, because it wasn't, because jail is jail. When the doors close, they close, and there's no opening.
Bang.
No, High Point, the gates were open, and so were the doors for you to leave whenever you got ready to, which was the greatest thing for me, because there was nothing holding me there. Nothing held me there. When I knew I was ready this time around for true sobriety and recovery, the doors were open. If I didn't like it, I could have left. But I stayed. I stuck and stayed. And while I was there, Stairway was a big guiding force for me, because I was able to call Stairway, the center, the members, the directors, and say, hey, listen, my wife is out there on her own. Do you mind checking on her, letting her know I love her? Is she okay? Making sure she's going to meetings. That was done for me. Being in High Point, having no money, having no way to support myself, I had people from Stairway supporting me. This was not, and without any questions asked either. It wasn't, oh, Jaquan, when you get your stuff together, that non-trust thing, you know, that always someone wanting something in return.
Right.
Not this. Okay. Someone just wanted me to be well. Someone just wanted me to get better. They want to see me thrive and be in true, long-standing recovery and be able to say, I did this. I remember a time where I never knew that Stairway was open past 5 o'clock in the evening. I didn't know that. You guys are open 9 to 8.
Yep.
Services all day long. I didn't know this, so I had a very long 3 days. I was desperate. I was broke. I found somewhere for my wife and my children to go, but I wasn't welcome. So I was on the streets. I actually slept on the streets for about 2 days. And a friend called me. He happened to call me and say, listen, man, I came into some money, man. You want to get high? And I'm like, yeah, of course. I'm ready. I was just tired. And I'm walking down Main Street, and Stairway to Recovery's lights are on. And I was like, what? Now, I didn't have to go down Main Street because
Nope,
I'm going to meet him at the Bat Center. I was over on, I believe I was on Crescent Street. I didn't have to go that way. Why did I go down Main Street?
Right.
Why? And I go down Main Street, Stairway's open, and I say, oh, man, dude, do you want to go start this chase? The run. I didn't like to share drugs, respectfully so. They share, they go by quicker, and then now you want more. It's a disaster, okay? I go in the Stairway, and they're having evening motivation, I believe. And the topic of conversation was about surrendering.
Okay.
You know, are you going to allow addiction to continue to take hold, or are you just going to surrender and say, I have a problem, I need help, how do I get it? And of course, obviously, I didn't seek treatment or anything then, but what I did seek was to live another day.
Right.
I chose not to use that night.
Another few minutes.
Another day, another moment, another time where I say, oh, well, not today.
Good.
So the one thing that I know for sure is that if you put yourself in a position to empty your heart, take out all the things that hurt, take out all the things that aren't helpful,
Absolutely.
we're never going to forget. We're not supposed to, so we don't repeat it. But we have to forgive ourselves. To forgive ourselves is forgiving others. If you cannot forgive yourself, it's very hard, and that was my biggest issue.
Yeah, that's actually one of the steps too in AA.
Yes.
So what core values or principles do you carry along with you when you're outside of Stairway?
Oh, man, principle before personality first and foremost.
Okay.
I was a very confrontational guy. Okay, what I couldn't cut down with words and intellect, I'm real good with these. 2-time silver paws in the state of Rhode Island. I've been a fighter my whole life. I've never shied away from a confrontation, but I've learned these days in recovery that I don't have to live that way. I'm not on the streets. I'm not a gangster. I'm not a thug. I'm somebody's son. I'm somebody's father. I'm somebody's husband.
Yeah.
I want to be better. I want to do better. And when you want better, you do better. So principle with personality, I don't engage, and I never use the terminology I'm weak, because weakness to me, where I come from, in my background, means soft. Okay? It means scary.
Yeah.
It means
We've heard that.
it means a few things. But to me,
Misperception on that
in
one,
life, that's okay. I'm
Yeah.
okay. I'm weak when it comes to drugs, alcohol, and confrontational situations.
Okay.
So I stay away from. I don't engage. And the one thing that I keep right here on my heart every day, my heart and my sleeve, is whenever things go wrong or whenever something doesn't necessarily go my way, the one term that I use today is, what part did you play, Jaquan? What part did you play? Whether or not good, right, or indifferent, I know for a fact that if I did not involve myself in any kind of way in any situation, I couldn't be a part of it. So when something goes awry in my life, the first thing I don't say is, oh man, Patrick, why'd you do that?
Right.
No. Maybe Patrick's not doing it to you, maybe he's doing it for you. But bottom line is, what part did Jaquan play? And as soon as I have like that idealism, what part did I play? It helps me. It helps me stop, replay the tape, and go, okay, that's where you went wrong.
Reflect.
That's what you can do better.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm a bit of a journaler now too.
Now it's
Not a diary, I'm a journal.
Okay. At Stairway, one of their biggest things is self-care. So what do you do for self-care to help you in recovery?
I work out a lot.
Okay.
I work out a lot. 600 push-ups a day. Okay. Not on the ground though, by the way, just to make sure. Okay. I got a chair.
Right.
I use the chair.
Okay.
I use
You
my
put the strain on it.
sink.
Yep.
That's right, baby.
Put the hurt on.
Meetings though as well. Meetings is part of my self-care regimen. I've never had an appearance problem. Meaning, you know, I take 3-4 showers a day.
Right.
I have 3 deodorants. I use women cologne, women perfume, women lotion.
Yeah.
I never had
I get you.
know, that part. But what I did was caring for myself, loving myself, putting myself in my initial needs first.
Right.
Working out, journaling, meetings. I love the sharing the experience.
You do
strength, and
groups
hope.
as well.
Yes.
Yeah, you do groups.
I currently have my own men's group out of Stairway called Redemption. When I had my men's group the first time around, it was for a different reason.
Right.
It was for the glory. It was for the recognition. It was to be number one, period. I had a stint through my 23 months where I fed the public twice a week for about 7 months. Went to the grocery store with my own money. We're not talking hot dogs and hamburgers here. I went and got steak, shrimp, everything that I love. Took my wife and my kids out here. We fed the people here at Father Bill's twice a week, off a grill, hot food, good food. I did that for the wrong reasons. I didn't do that for money. I did that to show that I can do this. I'm the man. I've always had to overcompensate with something. I didn't like being number 2, number 3. I didn't even like being a guy that was in the crowd.
So how did you humble yourself and bring yourself to where you're at right now?
Treatment. High Point Treatment Center.
Okay.
A lot of people seek true humility in this life. For me, true humility didn't happen until true humiliation. Okay. I needed to be humiliated the right way, though.
Right.
The right way. Humiliating me could have meant your safety. you know, but for in this term, humiliation. True humiliation humbled me. And what I mean by true humiliation was, my name is Jaquan Works. I grew up with no mother, no father, managed to put myself through high school, get a bachelor's degree in psychology from Salem State University, and get married, have children. Where I come from, this is the holy grail of life. This is what everybody seeks. I mean, you don't necessarily know how to go about it and get it because it wasn't a system.
Right.
But I was able to accomplish these things. But then yet, I'm at High Point Treatment Center voluntarily with 32 other men who don't look as good as me, who don't talk as well as I do, have the education I do, have the experience I do, but then yet and still I'm sharing a room, a place to live, bathrooms, and space with these men. This was my first introduction to you are no better than nobody else. Yes, you are special, Jaquan. Yes, you have accolades. Yes, you have good attributes. So does everybody else. This was my first introduction to true humility.
Wow.
That helped. That helped a lot. And I got to know a lot of these men too, personally. Yeah. I got to know them. I pulled down the veil and I got to know a lot of these guys. And so you would know, we're not different at all, man. Yeah. Substance use disorder is substance use disorder. I love to flaunt around that degree. I do. God, I do, man. I worked hard for it. But it didn't stop me from using. Yeah. It didn't stop me from putting my hands on my wife. It didn't stop me from catching felonies. It didn't stop me from doing all of these things that led me down a horrible path in addiction. So now I go into life, even though I have all these great attributes, all these great qualities, all this intellect, I go into life now green. Okay. I know nothing. I know nothing. If you brought me into a room and you said, Jaquan, do you know how to sweep this floor? I would say I have an idea, but how would you like me to sweep the floor? Okay. No longer do I I know that's a simple analogy, but I'm just saying in life for me now, I'd rather just not. I want to learn new things, but I also want to learn how to do things differently. Okay. I know how to do a lot of things. Of course I do.
So with this new sense of humility that you've had, what are your goals for the future?
Goals for the future. That's simple. First of all, stay sober. Live life on life's terms, because it's one of the greatest feelings ever. To be able to get over obstacles, get through life without needing an escape. I have a plan now. I have a plan. Every day I have a plan. If I get upset, you're going to take a walk. Okay? If you get into an argument, you back yourself out of it, man, maybe take a walk or do 100 push-ups. Today I have tools. Today I have a regimen. And today I have God, which I never had before. I have a higher
Did
power.
you find all those tools? Did the coping skills at Stairway, or did you just come across? Or how did you get those skills?
Well,
Living and learning.
Well, it's the experience part. Everyone
Okay.
has their own experience in recovery. Stairway, it's an abundance of different people. A lot of people at Stairway weren't necessarily drug abusers. They had other addictions, gambling, grief. There are a lot of people there that you can get so many different things from. My greatest teachers in recovery have been those who have been doing it for a long time. In High Point, it wasn't the recovery specialist, it wasn't the clinicians, it wasn't the therapist who I felt I was smarter than. It was the teachers were the men who were there in that treatment center with me. And I told them all before I left, I said, you guys, I don't like any of you, but I respect and love you all for teaching me one thing. They said, what's that, Jaquan? I said, never to come back here, ever again.
Whoa.
Thank you so much. You know, and I want to say that was a humble statement. But with all humility aside, it was a true one. Never again. I lost the battle of addiction, but I refuse to lose the war. So as far as my goals, I'm currently looking for employment. Not so much at any level, just to get my feet back on the ground. I feel more confident in my recovery this time around, in my tool set, in my mindset to be able to have money and live like a regular person. For years, I was embarrassed at the fact that I made a lot of money and I used it to abuse substances. Okay, I used it to abuse myself.
Yeah.
The one thing that I've heard in this walk is for many years in addiction, I taught people how to disrespect me. I taught people how not to care for me, how not to love me. And in terms, I did the same to myself. This time around, it's new because I know how to love myself now. I know how to respect myself now. So, world, watch out because recoveries are new.
Is your wife the big supporter as well?
My biggest supporter. You recover for yourself.
Right.
We all know that, right?
Right.
This journey, this walk, it doesn't happen until you want it. I don't know where I would be without my wife. I don't know. I don't know, only because when things were as dark for me, very dark, and I'm saying just ready to hang it up, not kill myself, obviously, but hurt others.
Right.
She was always there to let me know what I was fighting for. She's the mother of my only 2 children, you know. This October 3rd, we'll be celebrating, 12 years of marriage.
Congratulations, my friend.
Congrats.
There's no one in this life I'd rather have gone through everything that I've gone through with. I know I've hurt her a lot. I've done a lot of, unspeakable things. We don't have to go into detail on the things we do during active addiction. It gets real. But I can tell you one thing, to go through that fire for so many years and then be able to be on this side of the grass with that same person is absolutely amazing. And I'm so glad that she's put up with the nonsense, the garbage, the lack thereof for so many years. And yes, I'm here for me. Okay. I'm here as an advocate and an ally in recovery, but I would not be here without that support system. My wife, though, I wouldn't have made it this far, even after treatment. Wow. Even after treatment, because not being able to come home to her would have been devastating. If she gave up on me in this journey, I don't know where I would have been. So
that's really deep.
Yes.
If you could address the fans, I have a question. What do you wish more people understood about recovery?
Man, I can tell you this. The one thing that I know for a fact is when you go to meetings and when you go to recovery centers, the one thing that we hear a lot is the quantity of recovery someone has. Someone will say, I have 15 years, I have 10 years, I have 20 years. And don't get me wrong, those things are impressive. They are insurmountable. And most of us hope one day we can get there. But I want to stress the quality of your recovery. If you get up every single day and you tell yourself, I'm not going to use. Today, not tomorrow, today. Today I won't use. Today I will find something better to do than use. My quote is, I'm a better man than I was yesterday so I can be a better man tomorrow. It's possible. It's more than possible. I have 83 days and counting, and that's only through the grace of God, for one, and understanding that the old has to go. The old, it may hurt. People might be disappointed in you. That's okay, because those who love you, they will follow. But if you're still hanging around the same friends, you still have the same job, you still have the same circle, I guarantee you this will be a recurring thing for you. But if you are willing to drop the old and recreate the new, I promise you, you'll never have to drink and drug again. That's what I know.
Well said.
Thank you for
That's what
coming
I
on
do
the
know.
show with
Yeah.
us.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank
It
you.
was a good
Thank
time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was an honor.
Yep.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Well, here we are, folks. Our first show to get the real truth out there, to get the help that you need. And wonderful guest here, Jaquan, and letting us in on that story of his life. We all have them, okay? And here at Stairway Recovery, as he said, we got the help. We had the resources. We had the coaches. We have it all for you. Thank you to Gandera and Stairway for helping us with this. And for all you out there that need the help, at Stairway Recovery on 90 Main Street, Brockton, Mass. You can come in there, meet our wonderful staff, our members, feel the love and the vibe that you receive when you walk through that center. And then a person will listen to you. We don't judge. We meet you on the road. We have all kinds of resources. We also have recovery coaches. They're located on 142 Crescent Street. Above that, we have outpatient mental health, outpatient, also Gandera. And Gandera, along with the one in Brockton, has quite a few more across Massachusetts. So wherever you need help, whenever you need to call somebody, or just come in and just check it out and see how we do things, how people act, see our groups, how we flow, you're going to have an amazing journey. I can guarantee you that because I am one of the members. I came from a broken life like you wouldn't believe, and that will be a story for another day. But, so come join us. We have all the resources you need. We can get you referrals. We can hook you up with a recovery coach, okay? Or just come down and check it all out and join us and see the true life in recovery. Recovery is possible. Absolutely. The impossible is possible, but you got to believe in yourself, love yourself, worthy of love, and whatever on that journey, on that path of your recovery, Stairway is going to walk with you each and every step and be your support. So thank you.